Hello, hello, hello. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doom. Hello, Penguin. Hello, hello. Okay, let's announce the stream. I still hear some devs complaining about side faults when trying Zig. Is that still an issue or has it been corrected? uh, it depends what you mean. If you mean that some people are trying to run the Zig executable, and the Zig executable doesn't run, it crashes right away, it seg faults right away, um, then no, that doesn't happen. I don't know if that happened in the past, but that should not happen. Also, seg fault is a particular kind of crash, so it depends on whether you like how precise you're being when you say seg fault. If you mean that people's programs written in zigzag fault, oh yeah, that happens. But it's on them. They wrote the code wrong and they didn't test it. And so yeah, it's a programming error. That happens. So check out Rust if you think that's a big deal and you want less of that. Or rather, check out Rust if I don't know. I'll stop here. Okay, I'll go get some tea and then we start. Hello, Neurosite. Hello. Let's see. Hi, I hate OpenSSL, but the structure of how the naming schema does help a bit, but writing a wrapper for it is not simple. Oh, so you're trying to write you're trying to write bindings for OpenSSL? Zig bindings? And you're not enjoying the process? Is that it? OpenSSL is C, right? It's not C++. Hey, Dimoroy, thank you for the raid. Hello. Hello, everybody. Well, right at the start of the stream. That's very lucky. Thank you. Follow the reader writer style. Oh, I see. I see. I see what you're trying to do. That is interesting. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. I just started the stream, so we are like still warming up. Um, I'll give you a quick rundown of what we are going for today. So why do I have two ghosties? Oh, that's the update thing. Wait, since when does this thing show up this way? Anyway. So here's the idea. What is D2? D2 is the project that I'm working on and is a chat application. So let's see if we can do a demo. Now watch me having left everything in a non-compiling state. No, never mind. Server starts. And we start also the client. Okay, so this beautiful piece of modern art is the client. It looks ugly, but that's fine. I'm not trying to make the interface look good right now. But I'm implementing stuff like message persistence, which I have implemented I think a couple of days ago. We have voice calls. So right now, if I join this voice channel, since I'm running the server with the echo flag on, voice channels with this flag, when the server runs with this flag, will echo back your own voice, which is a development feature. So that will allow me to see if I can hear myself back, or if something broke in the somewhere along the system, because we have to start out the stuff on the client, capture microphone, compress with Opus, send over the network, receive at the server, send back to the client via UDP, receive, decompress, play back on another audio stream. So does it work? Yeah, it does. You can hear the echo. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's what I'm working on. Right now, this demo is not super impressive, although personally, given I've seen how much work goes behind having functioning voice calls, I personally find the voice the part of the demo to be impressive a bit. But yeah, so that's what we're doing bit by bit. There is a ton of ground to cover. Last thing about this application is that it's supposed to be self-hosted. So you install, it's kind of meant to be, think of it as inspired by Discord, but you self-host servers, kind of like you used to be able to do with TeamSpeak. That's the idea. That is the idea. Anyway. Looking through the GitHub, it appears that the particular issue that they have been complaining about has been fixed. But of course, there are always more bugs. Yeah, so if you're talking about like feeding the compiler a specific input and it crashing, yeah, that happens from time to time. It's not something that you really feel on the day-to-day. Like this project that I have right here is non-trivial, and there's plenty of non-trivial projects that work, that don't miscompile. But sometimes maybe you can still find occasional bugs. It's part of the beauty of being a V0 language. So what the heck is this IP address? Okay. Is this good? Yeah, I think it's fine. It's IPv4 encoded in IPv6. Okay. I mean, yeah, that does smell like IPv4. That's why it seemed fishy. Man, that makes me think that IPv6 is it's sure definitely perfectly sane standard. Nothing weird with it. Uh, nothing to see here, officer. That kind of stuff, right? Oh my god. Okay. So what is our plan? Let me put on some music, and here's what I want to work on today. Electro Swing Christmas Mix. Maybe I should listen to that. Okay. Do you know what means the part after percentage in IPv6? No. I think I've never seen a percentage in IPv6. To be clear, I haven't stared at much IPv6 stuff. Oh no, there's the endless list of leaks that we have in the server right now. But I think I've never seen a percentage in there. It's the interface number. The like your system interface number, like ETH012. Okay. So here's the plan. Yesterday we implemented reconnection, so we can run the client, and you can see that it's disconnected right now. And then because the server is not running, but we can run the server afterwards, and boom, when when the server runs, then we're back in business. The next step would be to add down this path. Basically, it would be to add data updates, but data updates are complicated, and I think it's something. I think it's the thing that I will look into during Christmas. You know, on my own, relaxing. Um, you know, trying to get something done while digesting, while recovering from endless gigantic meals, that kind of stuff. But right now, I think it's nicer to move forward with smaller things. So I think we can add support for adding new users. So let's add commands for, you know, adding a new user, listing them, maybe editing them, that kind of stuff. And technically, there's another problem because editing a user also would require us to let a running server know that we edited a user. So this is kind of problematic. Actually, you know what it is that we would love to have, which is unfortunate that we don't. Man, I don't know if people remember Rethink DB. That thing was cool. I think we never got a database that is as cool as Rethink DB in the in the document database space. Relational, I don't know. Maybe there is a, I don't know, CDC extension thingy for Postgres, but we're not using Postgres. We don't want Postgres. We want SQLite. So the question is, I guess, is there a concept in SQLite of CDC? Now watch me. Now watch me dive headfirst into the slums of database related slop posting. Oh god. Introducing change data capture for SQLite in Torso. Yeah, but I'm not using Torso. Create table Torso CDC. Integer primary key auto increment, timestamp, change time, change type. Pragma unstable capture data changes, connection full. Row ID of the affected row. Oh, this is like database wide. I think I would want that to be per table. I think I basically want a query that never completes, that I can pull from indefinitely, that gives me new rows added to the table or updates. Okay, I think there is just data change notification callbacks. Let's fucking go. Let us fucking go. SQLite, let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's see. SQLite 3 update hook. The SQLite 3 update hook interface registers a callback function with a database connection identified by the first argument to be invoked whenever a row is updated, inserted, or deleted in a row ID table. But this is from changes connected to that connection? Does it also capture changes that come from other connections? I hope so. Any callback say the previous call to this function, that is overwritten. The second argument is a pointer to the function to invoke when a row is updated, blah, blah, blah. The update hook is disabled by invoking hook with a null pointer as the second parameter. First argument is a copy. Wait, the first argument to the callback is a copy of the third argument to SQLite 3 update hook. The second callback argument is either insert, delete, or update, depending on the operation that caused the callback to be invoked. The third and fourth arguments to the callback contain pointers to the database and table name containing the affected row. The final callback parameter is the row ID of the row. In the case of an update, it is the row ID after the update takes place. The update hook is not invoked when internal system tables are modified. The update hook is not involved when without row ID tables are modified. Oh, I think I have bad news for myself. Guess what I did to the messages table? Well, fuck me. Oh no, wait. Actually, wait. Actually, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. No raw ID messages is fine. Right now, what we care about this current use case. Maybe there's an argument to be made that that's a problem. It's going to be a problem also in other cases. But users are no without raw ID. So we can listen to changes to users. By the way, what was that torso thing saying then? Like, if SQLite has this callback, then what is torso offering? That's on me. I should have. Maybe I should not have written CDC because it's it's a charged term. Using SQLite hooks will tie your application really tightly to SQLite. Are you sure you want that? I think I would be fine with the concept of being able to get CDC event sourcing. I'm fine with demanding that my database support telling me about updates. Because let me put it this way. Although, actually, wait a second, because this is still database wide, isn't it? This is still gonna tell me about every single thing happening in the database. Man, I'm not sure if I want that. I think maybe I kind of wish you could do this per table, because yeah. Otherwise, we would need to scroll this thing every time. Also for messages, although that could be an architectural change that we make where broadcasting messages is entirely sourced from a CDC stream. The SQL syntax? Maybe, but then that alone is not that big of a amazing thing, isn't it? Because it's still custom. Tursa is giving you the power of startup mentality. Wait, I don't even. Is that a good thing? Get better support, cloud pricing, soon AI feature. Eventually sell to bigger company and start shitifying. Let's fucking go. Hell yeah. Okay, so let me explain why I'm doing like I'm drooling at the idea of using this stuff. I want to implement now the ability to add new users and to so adding a new user. Some of it's fine. Right now, we can have a command that we invoke from the CLI that adds a row to the users to the database, to the users table. That works. And the moment we put that row in there, we're going to be able to log in from a client using that user. Delightful. But let's say that we want to modify the user. Once we log in, the user is loaded in memory. Once the user is loaded in memory, it will not automatically reflect changes in the database. So there are like two options at that point. One is, well, there's, no, let's not enumerate the options. There is basically one problem that we need to solve and then multiple ways of solving it. The problem is you want to modify the database, but then if that information is cached in the server, you want to have the server, one way or another, refresh its cache. Also, you would want that to be not brutal, like you would want that refresh to be granular, ideally. So, um, how do you pull that off? One way is your CLI tool requires the server to be running. So you can only add a user, well, you can only modify a user if the server is running, because the CLI tool is actually sending a command to a running server. You tell the running server to modify user, the server will apply the change on the database and also update its local cache if necessary. Another way is the client, the CLI tool does the database change, and then it pings the database. Sorry, it pings a running copy of the server about refreshing its cache. Both of these options require to have a concept of knowing that there is a server running and picking the right server in case there's more than one running, and send an information, which is basically what we do with Bork. Like Bork, whenever I do this, this is this thing contacting a running Bork instance and making it do things. That's the Bork architecture, basically. An alternative way is that you have a CLI tool that only writes to the database, and then the running client, the application, unconditionally updates its local cache with the latest version of data in the database, no matter what, no matter where the change came from. This is the power of using the CDC architecture. It's that you have this stream of updates that you listen to, that you reflect in your local cache, but then you can initiate that change from anywhere and it doesn't matter. So you can have a CLI tool that modifies users, or you can have another part of the application itself that modifies those users, but then you don't have to worry about cache coherence when you implement that piece of logic or any other piece of logic that deals with users, because no matter where you initiate the change from, as soon as that hits the database, then the cache will be updated accordingly. That is the nice thing. Like at that point, it means that you can take up you can use the SQLite CLI and modify things in the database from the SQLite CLI. And as soon as that change commits, now your application is updated. So you can do like fixes on the fly for anything that you want, in theory. That is the nice part about it. That said, Neurosite is right in saying that, I mean, you're starting to tie yourself more tightly to SQLite if you do that. Although I would say that I think that if we do this stable stuff, we will be specializing on SQLite a little bit no matter what, based on how all the dialect stuff, like the SQL but specific to SQLite stuff that we're doing here, because I think we already do some of that. So yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, never mind. This is actually fucking perfect because this means, wait, this is perfect because it means that we can make every table that we don't want the CDC stuff to work on, like messages, we make those without row ID. And frankly, basically the one table right now that I think is sus that we don't want to get um spam notified from is pretty much messages. Like other stuff, it's fine. Like channels is fine, sections is fine, probably permissions is fine, roles is fine, users is what we were looking for. Settings, of course, it's fine. I think this might not be a bad idea. That said, I'm not going to commit to that right away. Let's see. Have a queue map of changed users. So any interaction from those users would trigger a specific response asking to refresh. Yeah, but I mean, if it's like that, this is trivial. Like once you can tell the server that something has changed, the server can just refetch it from the database. It's not a problem. Like you're not gonna change stuff on the CLI at a frequency where that might become a problem. So yeah, it's fine. The problem is just making sure that everything stays in sync and like the amount of logic that you have to write. There is, in my opinion, something beautiful about listening to CDC streams. They streamline a lot of things. They're not free, like everything. It's a trade-off, and so I cannot state with full certainty that it is the superior way of doing things, like the one true way. I don't know. I don't know that, but I know that it is convenient in some ways. The fact that you can make a chat application that um, transparently responds to any change you make in the database, um, it's delightful. That is a delightful experience. That said, I would not be surprised if this type of thing is the first thing that starts having trouble with scalability once you want to scale. But at the same time, these server instances are kind of the definition of something that shouldn't need to scale past a single instance and a single SQLite database. So, yeah. Hello, Diablo. I guess this is a relevant piece of thing to think about, though, right? Even right now, right? Because we want to implement user crowd operations. So, hmm. Okay, let's start some of the work because no matter what we plan to do, some of the work we certainly can do. I'm gonna refresh my cup of tea. Sorry, I drank it all already, and then I'm gonna start typing. Okay, so we were saying, let's start from server.zig. Here we have version, we have help. Uh, Okay, server. So this is server stuff. Like, for example, using using server edit or something like that, we could modify its name, like the server name. What is your choice? What is the choice that makes you feel superior? Don't tell me it's Helix, because if it's Helix, it's not the superior choice. Also, I'm not neuroside, but look at this, Diablo. Look at this. Look at this cursor that I left here at the end of rolls. Look at it go off screen. Me scroll down back and find it back where I left it. I'm gonna get into insert mode. I'm gonna scroll up. Now I'm gonna type. And I type where I left my cursor. Show me your terminal editor do that. You can do that in NeoVim, but it's a bit shit. Okay, so well, okay, I don't know what makes it a bit shit, but so far every time I've done it in Flow, it works fine. So how does that work? Is that an extension? Also, what makes it shit? Okay, so user is a complete panic to do. Okay, let's make user real. Vim wasn't meant to handle it, so NeoVim added the stuff so you can make it happen in Lua, but it's not inherently native. I see. Yeah, but concretely, what type of issues do you have? You didn't know how? It sucks, man. All the editors have this problem. Okay, let's make a help menu for this thing. Oh, we also probably want to have fatal DB. I want a Vim like that doesn't try to crucify me for wanting to use those for other things. Is there a way to force NDNS in a packed struct for network socket usage in Zig? Yes, but you don't do that at the packed struct level. A packed struct is a syntax sugared way of accessing an integer. So the question is, what NDNS do you use to put your integer on the wire, and which NDNS do you use to put it back? So when you do writer.writeInt, you specify an NDNS, whichever you want, and then you use, well, hopefully the same NDNS to read it back, and then you cast that as to a abstract, and boom, you're back. I can remind those in NeoVim and get thrown out of the Vim church if I do it. Leave the Vim church, join the mouse gang. Mouse gang. Although neurosite for the mouse gang, we need right click. We need context menus on right click. I don't know what for exactly. I'm just saying in general. Okay, so what is this guy going to be? This is D2 user command. Oh, you know what is actually the corresponding, like the corresponding help menu is this guy. This is the corresponding help menu. Let's see, I'm starting my first project, and first I need to implement a DNS resolver. I used to implement structures of C diagram in C++, so I can't retrieve from Y and read as is. So I can retrieve from the wire as is. Yeah. So that means that you need to know what is the NDNS of that data on disk, right? So the data on for example, here in media, I have my UDP header, and my UDP header is a, well, in this case it's an external struct, but there's packed stuff in here. So regardless, the point is you need to know in which order this stuff will be on the wire, and then you just need to pick the appropriate NDNS when you read it from disk, from the network. So here's my suggestion. Try it. Well, usually this stuff is big endian, right? In my case, this is my protocol. Everything is little endian, and I don't give a fuck. But usually when this stuff is defined, like RFCs, they show you stuff like this, and then you get it like this being the first byte if you read it Beganian. Maybe people in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case. So that should probably be your null hypothesis. Read define as it comes natural to you. Read as Beganian. On the wire, everything is always Beganian. Well, not exactly. No. The stuff that is standardized tends to be. But I'm making my own protocol, and I'm putting my own stuff on wire, little endian, and I do not care. Did you know there is an arg allocator? There is an arg iterator. So I want to read as big endian, yes. It's super easy. When you read, so when at some point you will have some code. Never mind that this is metaprogramming code, so it might not be immediately clear what I'm trying to do. But here I'm reading an integer from the wire. Well, here, sorry, I'm writing an integer. When you write, you do write int. You specify the type of int. So this would be like U32, for example, the value itself, and then dot little for little endian, dot big for big endian. Like this is the endian s enum, and write int has the signature where it wants the type, wants the value, and it wants the endian s. For reading is the same thing except reading. So here I want to read an int. I use take int, and take int asks me what's the type, what's the endian s, and that's it. We're good. Not the endians. Oh man. Can you write a whole struct with the endian option? You can write a packed struct because a packed struct is essentially an integer. So yes, you can write a packed struct that way because you cast it back to its integer value before writing it. Oh, wait, that removes the whole thing. I thought you were making a joke because Indian sounds like Indian. Never mind. I thought you were going for a pun that I had never heard before. Yeah, NNS is about what was that? Like which side of the egg you can use to stand the egg up vertically. I don't remember though why that was a discussion. I don't know. Ban, add, edit, delete, list, show users. Probably we can omit existing. So when reading a known struct, I'd better read one by one with endian option. The whole packet cannot be read as single integer in reverse order. If there is a metaprogramming to do so automagically. Kajika, you need to read the language reference. You can read a packed struct all at once if you want. Because the packed struct itself is an integer. The whole thing is one big integer. Not big endian, just big integer. Or rather, not necessarily big endian. Look at the language reference. Look at packed structs. Read this. Read this documentation. This is good. Oh, god damn it. Stupid browser. What are we building? A chat application. I'm writing a chat application. Think of it as a Discord that you can self-host. Hello, Karitam. That's what I'm working on. But right now, I'm working on your ability to create new users. No, and do stuff to them. Okay. So ban, add. I think that ban is worth having as a special command that we put here for convenience so that you can just very quickly ban somebody. You could argue that it's not that important because in a sense it is a subset of what you could in theory do by editing a user, although we could limit editing a user to just changing, you know, the profile of the user and not modifying the user when it comes to more complicated stuff. Also, probably you want to do banning from the client, from a client. But I don't know. This is not bad either. Do not remove the user, but disable the user for all. Agreed. Yes. Delete is the one that deletes the user from existence. And even then, you know, I'm not sure if it's a good idea because maybe I would say maybe yes, because if there's a spammer that sent a bajillion messages, you kind of want to delete it. Yeah. In any case, my point is for sure ban shouldn't delete. That's for sure. Whether delete should exist here, probably not 100% sure. In any case, use D2 user command help for command specific help information. There we go. Okay, so we have our fatal help. Admins need to be able to undo it. Good point. Yes. The doctors never say a word about NNS there. Yes, they don't, because it's not relevant. Okay, let me show you very quickly. Timeouts. That is a good point. Should that be considered part of banning? No. Timeouts is something different. Okay, let me do this NNN stuff very quickly. Okay, check this out. MK there, I don't know, Indian. Okay, const std import std app function main. We need to set up a connection, then we write and we read to. So we are making one connection. We kind of want to round trip around the connection, although it doesn't even need to be a connection. It can be a let me think about it for a second. I guess we can do this with a fixed, with an allocating writer. No, but let me think about it for a second. What is the easiest way to round trip some data to ourselves? Because we can obviously start a listening server and start accepting on it. But what is the quickest way? Socket self-register. Yeah, I kind of wish I could open a connection towards myself. I think I'm gonna write this stuff to a slice and then read the slice, and then I'm gonna make a writer that writes to a slice, and then I'm gonna make a reader that reads from the slice. There's not a concrete connection beneath us, but I would say it's similar enough. Okay, so let's do our pack struct. So const, what's our pack struct going to be? Let's call it person. It's a pack struct. Okay, watch this. This is a pack struct that needs to specify its size. So it's going to be a U32 pack struct. And our U32 pack struct has one field, which is going to be, I don't know, age, which is a U16, followed by, I don't know, limbs, which is another U16. Kind of overkill, one could say. But let's say that our pack struct works like this. Okay, so this pack struct is basically a U32 number, but we are able to access the first 16 bits as age and the remaining 16 bits as limbs. Yeah, that's what happens when you skill hard enough. Like if you grind hard enough and you make enough exp, you know, you kind of need to get a god run. Normally it doesn't happen, but if you're lucky, you get good drops, etc. You can get there. I mean, there's look there. What's the Indian goddess that has a bajillion arms? Okay. So that's our packstract. Let's write an instance of the, well, let's make an instance of this packstract. So const p person is has age 10 and limbs 20. Okay, 10 and 20 are two numbers. I'm gonna remove this thing here. Okay, so let's write it down. So let's write it down with an allocating writer. So let's also do this. Const GPA equals std.heap.smp allocator. We're also gonna need that. Okay. So var writer state is gonna be io.writer.allocating allocating init GPA. Okay. Okay, and we do try w.write int p. We might need to cast it, but for now let's just do p. And then we select the NNS. I'm gonna do big NNS. You know what? It's probably more interesting if we do it like this. This is a U16, and we use U8s for these fields, so that this way we can see the NDNS messing around stuff in a more obvious way. Okay, I do write int. Let's take a look. Let's print what was written. So I can do std debug.print written we do x if we want hex. Writer state dot get written. I think it is. Is it not get written? Is it just written? It is just written. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's just start with this. Let's try to get this working. So zig run hello to zig. Expected 3 arguments, found 2. Writer type t value. Oh, it wants the type. The type is U16. This is still not gonna be good. I think it's gonna complain. Yeah. Bitcast. That is not what I was hoping for. How do we do this? Oops. Oh, maybe I want D. No. Okay, what do you offer for this type? SX, B64, or any? What about any? What does that make you do? There we go. So we've written a 20 and a 10, a 20 byte and a 10 byte. If we change this to little, we print them the opposite way around. So when you read them back, all that matters is that you match how you wrote them afterwards. Yeah, you're right. It's just that it's just that I was expecting 0x, so I wasn't even getting the x prefix, so it was like shitty to read. This is easier. Okay, read them back. Var to do reader state io.reader.fixed. Is it uppercase fixed or do you? I think you do it like this, right? Yeah, it's just a normal reader, so you do equals dot lowercase fixed. You're calling a function called fixed to create a fixed thing, and you pass in writer state dot written. So this reader reads from whatever was written in the writer state, and then we do we can do that later. Okay, we can once I'm gonna write the the full round trip so that we can then see what happens with those things. Do. So reader state is this is not reader state. This is actually the reader. So we have a reader. Wait, am I doing something dumb? No, this is giving me an actual reader, right? Yeah. But I don't think I can call it const. Yeah. Okay. So we have a reader and we do oh, you know what? Also, there's probably something. Yeah, look at this. There's write struct. This function is to inline avoid that code, blah blah, contain known and much as NNS. I think this is about pack structs. Look, there's an even more convenient way. You can use write struct, but to be clear, write struct for a packed struct calls write int on the packed struct itself. There's also extern structs. We can talk about that one in a moment. But let's keep using write int in any case. So here I can do this. I can do const p1 of type person equals a bitcast of reader dot take int u16 little, and we need a try. Red. Okay, let's see how this works. Expected u8. Wait, what? Oh, shouldn't have taken pointer. And I'm missing new lines. Okay, written 1020, red age 10, limbs 20. So that works. And if you fuck it up, like if you put them out of sync, then you read these values swapped around in this case. Or rather, that's always the case, but in this case, since the values themselves are single byte long, then you get the correct values just swapped around. If those were multi-byte, then you would get just bad stuff. So, and just to show everything, you do big endian writing, big endian reading, and you're back to being correct. Okay, so what happens if these guys are bigger? Okay, let's turn this into a U32, U16, U16. Okay, now it's different. Now we need to write a U32. And we need to read a U32. Okay, what happens now? Well, I mean, what happens is that the most significant bits, right, the upper, or if you will, the upper byte, is 0 in both cases. So this is fine. But if you read them wrong, Now you don't just get the stuff swapped around, but now you get bogus values. Now, if you have a struct where some fields are defined to have a different endianness, like if you have a struct where somebody tells you, look, this is going to be big endian and this is going to be little endian, then yeah, you're in a different situation than this. Your thing is all kinds fucked up. I feel like that your protocol is ass. Also, last thing, which is I think is also important, is that really you should think of backstructs as integers. They're fancy integers, but they also can do this. They support this idea where this is going to be like, this is going to be 29 bytes, and this is going to be, sorry, 29 bits, and this is going to be 2 bits. You can also do this, and it works. Now we cannot say that limbs is 20. Let's say the limbs is 3. But now you can do this. Sorry, did I fuck up the numbers? Oh no, it's 32. U3. Okay, so now you can. Well, okay, this is all messed up still. So let's make it work again. So you can do this, and this writes. This is still only 4 bytes. Alternatively, you can do an extern struct. Where you, well, I'm going to modify this, where an extern struct is a C-style struct. It's not just an integer. When you write in an extern struct this is still going to be U32. So it's going to be 29 bytes of good values plus 3 bytes of padding. Sorry, 29 bits of good values plus 3 bits of padding. And this is going to be a byte. And then, you know, this all works out to be 4 bytes, so it's fine. But the point is that this guy has padding in it in the in-memory representation. But if you use write struct, then write struct has the metaprogramming that maybe this is what you were talking about earlier, where I don't know actually what the heck it is doing. W.write all pointer cast to what? To bytes? Holy shit. What? Okay. If it's an extern struct, apparently, if you use write struct, this will write over the network, also padding. That is interesting. That is a choice, I guess. But I guess in theory, in your protocol, you shouldn't have padding. Like, it should be defined to not have padding, maybe, in theory. In any case, there's also the alternative where you manually do the writes one by one. So you first write age, then you write limbs, and then on the read side, first you read age, and then you read limbs. And then you do, you know, you read in whatever order you want the fields, and then you read each field with whatever endianness you need to. It was more about if my person would be 0x10, 00, 020, 00. Okay, so, but you see, this is stuff that you can play with. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this delightful code. I'm going to put it on Zigbee. What if extern should be packed? Well, it can't. It's either extern or it's packed. Extern means C-style semantics, so it doesn't do bit packing. Share. Copy link. Send it on Borg. Send it to YouTube. I wish the Borg sent also on YouTube, but it doesn't, unfortunately. What else? As for the metaprogramming magic, you can do that. It's not that hard. For example, here in my chat application, that is something that I've implemented. When you make a function, for example, this is the serialize inner, you iterate on type info. So you look type info, you look at what it is the value that you've received, and you do stuff with it. If your structs are guaranteed to only have numbers inside of them, this is going to be very easy because you're not even going to have to recurse and have all the metaprogramming that I have in here. You can literally just do something like, okay, again, going back to here, you can just do something like const info is type info of person, and you know that this is a struct, so you can do dot struct. This is a union, and so we are entering the struct case because we know that this type is a struct. So you do this, and then you do for inline for info.fields f.name. And then when you run this, you see it prints first age and limbs. So instead of printing this, you do you basically do let's assume that they're all ints. You do well, w.write int f.type. That's going to be the type of the field, and then the value is going to be at field. Well, you need an instance of a person, so let's say that it's p. Field is going to be f.name. The at field allows you to access a field via metaprogramming, and then you do dot big endian. I don't know, whatever endianness you like, and that's it. That's literally it. And this is you printing each field one after another, assuming that they're all simple fields with numbers. If some of these fields can be structs in turn themselves, then you need a more complicated structure. But like the simple case is stupid easy. This is it. Shouldn't be that hard to swap endianness per field. No, shouldn't be. That is that the does it compile? I mean, yeah, should. Let's see. Doesn't. Except division produced a reminder. Oh, because write int wants non-weird integer types. There you go. Without weird integer types, you're good. And in any case, it's because it's ill-defined what this stuff should do when you have these weird integers. You can make it work. Like you just need to decide what your semantics are. When you have an integer size that doesn't map precisely to a byte, you need to be explicit about what it is that you want. So hopefully this was helpful. Okay, back to the exciting world of user CRUD. Yeah. Let's implement add. Well, no, we need first to I guess parse our command. Okay, our command has well, actually, you know what? We can't even parse the command yet because we are still at the stage where we are selecting the sub command. So it must be like this. Sub command. It's not a strat, but it's an enum. And it's ban, add, edit, delete, list, show, help. We can't. Actually, we can. Yeah, we can. Yeah, that works. Okay, so help. And to be nice, we also add a couple of aliases. We add -h and --help. So that if people type those, we give them the help menu no matter what, just to be nice. Okay, so we basically want to switch on the next argument. So const subcommand is going to be it.next, or else fatal missing command for resource for user resource. And actually, this is not fatal. This is a debug print. And then we do fatal help. There we go. Then we try to parse it. So const subcommand is std meta dot string to enum. Our enum is subcommand, and our value is row subcommand. Or else this one also can fail. Unknown command for user resource. Actually, this should be like this. There we go. Okay. There we go. Help is implemented. The rest is a to do. So where do we write these function? These thingies are they functions that we put in this file? Are they separate files? I think these guys each deserve their own directory, in my opinion. In my opinion, we need to make a user directory, and in there, each one of them has a file dedicated to it. It's not a hard rule, but that way we can, keep everything the same. Fatal help can be called fatal help. Command can be called command, which is the struct that parses all the flags, etc. So otherwise, we need to start namespacing everything, and I don't know. Okay, so that means that we want to break apart add, and we want to do this at import. So we are assuming that we are inside server, and we want user/add.zig, and we call run, and we pass down GPA and the iterator. So this thing doesn't exist. Let's go make it. Oh, we already had delete and put in there. Put. Oh, right. The reason for this is because somebody was talking about upserts. Do we want an upsert style interface where upserts means that we make no distinction between adding and updating a user? Uh, I don't know. It did seem not a bad idea on paper, but now that I have to implement it, it makes the interface more. I guess I could attempt it and see how that goes. I know how I would need to write the two things separately. Let's see. When you create a user, you have to specify username, which I guess you kind of cannot change right now. Or no, you can. Yeah, right now you can. So username, you don't set last login, you don't set user creation date. You have to provide a password, which you can change. You can change the password if you want, I guess. Uh, display name, avatar. The problem is, man, we would have to write all the queries where on an upsert, well, on an update, we have to write all the queries where you only you generate a query where you only specify which fields you're modifying based on the flags that were passed in. Jesus. We don't have that right now. Oh, also what I think we need? I watched a pretty interesting talk about Gleam where Giacomo Cavalieri implemented a non-orm. Well, it's not an object relational mapper, but he implemented a library for working with SQL queries that are where basically it's based on code gen. And I think that it's probably the right approach also for us with Zig. In our case, we could pull it off also with comp time, but man, I had that library that used comp time, and I just could not figure out how to make it work for me. Me. Okay, give me a sec. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get another cup of tea, and then we decide what to do here. Hey, I'm back. And guess what happened in the meantime? Let's see if it's on Hacker News. Your job is to deliver code you have proven to work. What? You're saying that my 20,000 line sloppy PR is not okay? Your job is to deliver code you have proven to work. It's I'm nitpicking, but I think I would even go a little bit further than that. I think it's not. I think it's a little bit more than that. But you know what? This already would be not bad. That's already a bar that we don't meet. All right, the people that do AI slop definitely do not meet. Here's a recent example. Okay. Should battle the change with an automated test. A computer can never be held accountable. Yep. Yeah, agreed. Jonathan Malone has spent the past decade designing 1,400 puzzles for you. No, no, please tell me that you is not me. Please tell me he designed them for somebody else, not me. I think I've not recovered from the witness yet. Jesus Christ. You solve a puzzle. What's your reward? Another fucking puzzle. Times 1,000. Order of the Sinking Star. Started small but became a combinatoric explosion. Like the witness. Well, oh, there's an announcement trailer. Okay, I'm keeping it muted so that, weird audio doesn't get included. Yeah, okay, I mean, if you watch these streams, that's the game. You've already seen it. Cool. Yeah, not for me. But no, it's something else that I wanted to show. Man, it's not even on Hacker News. Let's see if it's in the new tab. Does nobody really care about this anymore? Man, nobody cares anymore, it seems. No, I guess it must have already been posted. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying what that is. Sorry, and when I say I'm not saying it, I know that right now I'm not saying it, but it's the Stack Overflow survey. Oh my god. It was not posted at all. Wait, did they get memed? I think I think oh, is it here? I searched survey, but oh wait, is this old? I thought this was a newer thing. I think I saw a tweet from Frank that this was supposed to be a new thing. Wait, did Frank post old stuff? He usually posts only new stuff. You know what? Never mind. I thought there was something new. I guess I kind of forgot that this was already posted or something then. I don't know. Fuck it. Never mind. I thought there was something juicy to discuss, but there isn't. Never mind. My bad. Okay. Back to our crowd then. CoderRabbit.ai. State of AI versus human code generation report. We found AI written code produces 1.7x more issues. Our state of AI versus human code generation report. But did you use AI for this report? More code, more bugs. Yeah, more money, more problems, right? You know what? Now I'm curious. What did I? What is it that I saw? Hello, is it true that ZigBase is now on Codeberg? Yeah, the Zig repository is on Codeberg. 100%. Yes. Uh, Codeborg. Oh God. Codeborg. You know, if I make my own Forge whatever instance, I'm gonna name it Codeborg. Oh man. So wait, is the Stack Overflow stuff really that old? Why is Frank posting it now? I'm confused. I'm confused. Sorry, Stack Overflow. Because I remember that it was something a while ago, but is it yeah, 6 months ago. Jesus. Annual developer survey. Yeah. So this is the one that we have already seen. Yo, check out Italy. Last of the first every single time. Make a graph with the first people, like, you know, the first countries doing things, and Italy is gonna be at the bottom of it. Thumbs up. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he got memed, and then in turn, I got memed by him. It happens, I guess. GitHub is a more desirable collaboration tool than Jira this year. I mean, congrats. Congrats. And also, we'll see. We'll see how it goes next year. I mean, honestly, like I don't know how could GitHub do so bad that it becomes less desirable than Jira. But yeah, how is GitHub 70% admired? It's because this is old and people had yet to discover safe sleep, for example. So give them time. I mean, ultimately, safe sleep is not something that hits you in the face every time you use GitHub. So most people will not care because you need to have a self-hosted runner to start caring about safe sleep. But we'll see. Anyway. Okay. Goodbye, Stack Overflow. Quality of the website is so slow. I agree, but it seems that people are used to that. They're fine. GitHub used to be something else. Indeed. You know, from my perspective, the biggest thing that GitHub has achieved. So, mark my words, okay? Mark my words. GitHub can mess the interface. GitHub can fuck up CI. GitHub can do all these things. But in my opinion, none of this is even remotely as bad as GitHub ruining the social aspects of GitHub. GitHub is a social network. It's just that it's so good as a social network that we don't think of it as a social network. The moment that you think of a social network as a social network, you're kind of seeing it's because it kind of sucks. The fact that you don't think actively as GitHub too much as a social network, in my opinion, it's a sign of its success. And haven't seen anyone post cat photos, yeah, or baby photos for that matter. So, you know, if you have one, you have to have the other, I think. What should become LinkedIn too? Oh God, can you imagine? I mean, it might. I don't think they're there yet, but that is the one thing where I feel like that it's going to be AI's fault. AI has ruined all social networks, not directly by existing. Like, in my opinion, Reddit has been ruined by AI, but not because AI ruined it directly. It's because its owners decided to burn Reddit, you know, at the altar of AI. They made a mess. And in my opinion, Reddit is not the front page of the internet anymore. You could argue if it ever was, but it definitely is not anymore. It's fading into irrelevance, in my opinion. And Twitter has also begun that journey. Honestly, I've been okay. I occasionally, you know, take a look because it's kind of my job, but I stopped caring about social media more than a year ago. Whenever I reopen these applications, it's, I don't know, it's so bad what's on there. And again, I'm not saying this from a, you know, particular one specific political perspective. Oh no, it's about, you know, there's the guys that have opinions that I don't like that now are the majority in this place, so the place is bad. No, I'm saying it doesn't matter, in my opinion, what your perspective is on this stuff. It's just bad. It's just like bad. It was not that bad before. It's becoming Facebook. It's transitioning towards Facebook bad. It's for boomers. And I find it so sad when people from my generation don't realize that the places that they've gotten used to are becoming shit. They don't seem to even have in their mind the possibility that those places become shit. For them, they just are. You know, it's just part of life. It's like trees. Trees exist. And they have existed forever and it will exist forever. You know, trees, rocks, air. And for them, you know, those social media networks, they're always there. They'll always be there. There is no discussion. Like, you cannot put them into discussion. And it's sad because you know that that's how boomers deal with Facebook. So that's how millennials will deal with, they will become the new boomers. Okay, let's do ad. Let's not do upserts. We can change this to upserts in the future, but for now, let's just do ad. Plain ad. So you know what? FatalDB in here in user is not needed because this guy just does dispatching. There are a lot of researchers that they follow, and it's always cool to see them update their research and seeing experts talk about certain things publicly. Yeah, that is fair. Social networks are not inherently bad. There's obviously something good about social networks. I think my beef in general is these specific instances that we have and how they have becoming worse. Sure, if you have your, quote unquote tiny bubble of people that use these things in a productive way, that's awesome. But I feel like the overall ecosystem of these places is becoming worse and worse. To the point where people that do this kind of stuff, like the researchers that you mentioned, they could probably use having a RSS feed as well. Not that RSS is that great. RSS is kind of a loser technology, given its history, given that it never really got adopted uh, massively. But still, it doesn't cost much to have one of those things, and it helps. Instead of jumping from Twitter to Mastodon to Blue Sky to whatever. Personally, I think that Twitter, especially, it's becoming Elon Musk's. It's a political tool for Elon Musk. So, because of that, it has to. How can I say? That has become part of the goals of the platform, and in my opinion, that detracts. That will have a negative effect on everything else, and won't necessarily destroy everything, in a day. But, eh. I wish the people that owned it did not sell it to Musk. And yeah. In any case, part of this chat application, part of the goals of this chat application is also to help with some of that a bit. We'll see. Within the confines of the community, probably. But yeah. Okay, let's add let's add users. I am starting to think that maybe this does not deserve its own server. Its own page, and maybe this should be here. Maybe we should have inlined this here because we can do sub command in here. We can do this style. We can replicate what we did for server, and honestly, it's not that bad, and that saves us from having a dedicated file. But I made it already, so whatever. Okay, add. So how does add work? Add requires us to set up a connection. Oh, this is an interesting one. We need to know where. Okay, so we need. You know what? We need to make the help menu. So that we can decide how this should work. So, user, add, require arguments, optional arguments. Add a new user. Okay. So we need username. Then what else do we need? Username. Password. I think I should start calling username handle. Password. Then there's going to be display name. You know what? Let's do it. Handle, handle, password, display name. Maybe you don't get to set the avatar when creating a user right for now. Let's take a look at the schema in init. What's a user? That's pretty much it. Handle, password hash, display name. Yeah. Yeah. In any case, about social media, this is honestly a suggestion that I would like to make, which is to seriously consider abandoning social media. Um, you can still be informed. When I say abandoning social media, I mean, I should be more precise. I mean, not abandoning Hacker News necessarily, not abandoning Lobsters, not abandoning communication forums like chat forums, but I mean, abandon the high frequency, high intensity platforms where people have a financial incentive to push outrage, for example, which is one thing that Elon Musk's new Twitter does. Um, also all the AI spam that's on there, man, it's incredible. So just get off of that stuff. Get off of Facebook. Get off of Instagram. Get off of all those things. Well, I don't know. Maybe Instagram. I don't know. Instagram, I don't know, but certainly Twitter, Facebook. Actually, I would even suggest the same for Mastodon and Blue Sky. Not because Mastodon and Blue Sky are particularly bad in that sense. I don't think they are. But I think that once you get off that mindset, you you free a bunch of energy and you free yourself up more for doing social for having a social experience that is more meaningful with people, so that instead of spending instead of getting enraged and yelling at people on Twitter, you join a, well, currently Discord server maybe, and you chat with people about concrete things. For example, earlier today we had a discussion about pack tracks and how to serialize, deserialize them. That's good. That is good. That's a discussion that makes people make better software, and we can all enjoy. Somebody makes better software, we can all enjoy it, which is nice. So, um, like you change the way you spend your, like the way you think about this stuff and spend your day, and man, it is it good. Avatar has no type. Yeah, Avatar has no type, and I don't remember why. I think that if you specify no type, it defaults to blob or something like that. I do not remember. I remember reading the SQL spec thoroughly when I did this work about a year ago, but I haven't done that work again yet. I will redo it now that I look into, all the CDC stuff. Yeah, SQLite is weird because SQLite is weirdly dynamic, like truly, truly weirdly dynamic. So, yep, yep. I mean, to be fair, at the end of the day, these are all, everything is just bytes, so it's a matter of interpretation. But anyway, so display name. This is it, I think. Non-unique display name. Are you sure this is a good idea to be able to impersonate other accounts? Um, no, I would see that more as I think you can do that in Discord, where you can also change your display name, and Discord shows both your display name and your handle. So your display name is supposed to be um handle is the thing that defines you more specifically, and display name is something you can play around with. But it has number the same name. No, it does not. Discord used to have numbers to handles, so your handle had a number at the end so that they would be unique. But then the display name could be whatever you wanted. I think I might be misremembering, but I think those things are gone. I'll give you an example. On Discord, I'm Christoph, and I don't think I'm the only Christoph on Discord when it comes to the name. I also happen to have snatched the Christoph handle, so um, but you can change the username to whatever you want. Yeah. So think of it as display name is where you would put like full name and surname in a, I don't know, in a non-gamer context. So you're in a context where you still use your handle, you use your gamer name for your handle, but then as your display name, you just put your full name. You don't have to. Not everybody has to do that, but it's something that you can do, and it's fine. That kind of stuff. Okay. Um, there is one thing that I was thinking wouldn't be a bad idea for D2, which is to do something like what Blue Sky is doing, where your domain can be used as your name. So the idea is that, for example, you either have a a handle that has a number like Discord used to in the past, or you have a numberless handle that has to correspond to your domain. And people use that to refer to you. And sorry, I forgot to say. And the idea is that on top of that, you like put your public key inside of well known, and that way people can use that to verify your messages. What are you deving? Uh, D2 chat application inspired by Discord, but that you can self host. And I'm implementing right now, adding a new user from the CLI. Okay. Okay, we'll want to do something like this. Let's do the command. So command here has handle password display name. Missing value 4 handle. I think this is pretty much it. Okay. And you know what? Display name doesn't have to be specified because we can just default to the handle value. You know what? For future proofness, Actually, we can do it like this. Here we go. Argument parsing implemented. So now we can do insert into users. So this is going to be cmd.handle. We need to compute the password string. Display name is going to be $3. Okay. We need pastor. In init, we compute it, right? We do it here. So we do argon over cmd.password. Allocator GPA. Yeah. Params, interactive, blah, blah, blah. That's it. So we have implemented user addition. We should have some feedback for the user. I guess we can print nothing if it goes well. We could print the user ID. Because they don't know the user ID before, printing user ID might be useful. I think I'm not gonna do this now, but there's the aspect um uh of users having roles. So let's see how it's defined. A user doesn't have a role, but there is a roles table, create updated role name sorting visible. So there are roles. The reason why users don't have a role field is because they can have more than one role. So there's permissions. What's permissions? Either role or user should be set. Other should be null. Right. This is saying role something or user something can or cannot do that. But we're missing the table that connects users to roles. Did I never design it? I never designed it. We're missing a table where we say like something like user roles, basically, where we connect the two. That's unfortunate. How do you stay in flow state even after so many distractions? I feel anytime I get distracted, it takes me forever to get back into flow state. No, I think that's fair. You get used to it if you stream for long enough, though. I can promise you, I'm way more productive on my own. In any case, I am getting distracted a bunch. I mean, I guess these are quote unquote good distractions because I'm chatting with people and that's kind of the goal. So yeah. Uh, yo, we are missing an important table. I would say we are missing an important table like this for permissions. I think as is good. Uh, maybe, but we kinda with this thing we kinda forgot that we need to connect users to roles. We really kinda forgot, unfortunately. Oh man. Um. Okay. Uh, what do we wanna do next? Well, we can ignore this role stuff for now. I guess we can try out what we just programmed, see if it compiles at all. And what is this test thing? Close file. Okay, user add. I don't think we build in any case yet. Also, this is unnecessary. Extracted t found const t. There you go. Extracted type 0 found const. Wait, right. Missing handle. Terminated by sig trap. Yes, missing handle. Oh, this is bad because I kind of wish this would be like I think somebody would benefit from whenever one of these errors happens. I think they would benefit from seeing the help menu. Also, we are missing help. So how do we say here that we don't want to just fatal this, but we also want to see the help? Hmm. I would say that if you're missing handle, we can special case this. Just because that means that you run the command without anything, most probably, and so you could probably use this. Fatal error, missing handle, usage, blah blah blah. Handle, password, display name. Okay. Let's see. User banana password uh banana 123. Unique constraint failed user's ID. Fuck. Wait, is that not auto increment? It is auto increment. Wait, how does it work? um. Oh, you need to do this. Uh. So insert into users, and I think we can do it this way. So we can omit ID. We can say created, updated, name. This is roles. What am I doing? But it's the same thing. Handle, pswd hash, display name. Avatar. I guess we put avatar to null. These guys stay the same. ID we can omit because we don't use anymore. Now it's created and updated. How do you do now in SQLite? Or I guess SQL in general. This I think SQLite in this sense is going to be the same as everything else. Syntax. Insert. To upsert close. Oh. There should be some kind of now, right? Maybe. So now. Let's see what happens. Table users has no column named name. Oh shit. Yeah. Me. No such function now. There we go. So SQLite does not have now. God damn it. How? Let's see. In a few years, I can take a very early retirement. I plan to work on making a database analytics platform in Zig. Very cool to see someone doing DB work in Zig. I mean, if you want to see serious people doing serious DB work in Zig, you can watch Tiger Beetle people doing stuff. They are definitely serious. So there is no now. SQLite now. Date and time functions. Yeah. Okay. So there was a way of doing this. Date, time, date, time. Oh God, I don't know. What's your wait? Integer. So I guess these are supposed to be Unix timestamps. Unix epoch, I guess. There we go. We succeeded. If we run it again, it should complain. Yeah. Unique constraint failed. Users.handle. So same user cannot be handled twice with the same handle. Now, if we run the server, well, if we kill the server, actually, I did not have to kill the server, but it's kind of a peculiar thing because that is still not fully working. Also, I can run the client here, but I'm already logged in, so I can remove my... There we go. And run the client, join, username banana, password banana123, joined. This says admin. What? This should not say admin. What? I should say client authenticated successfully as something. What theme are you using? It's called AYU. AYU. And there's a few variants. I think I'm using AYU. I don't remember. Not the dark one. Boxed, maybe? In any case, look into those. Okay, so what is going on here? Let's take a look in the server where we say authenticated. Client authenticated successfully. Oh, it's in run, of course. There we go. Client authenticated successfully as... dot handle. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll see what we authenticate as. Client authenticated successfully as banana. Oh, but then this thing doesn't work? Okay, there's something sus going on. Holy shit, why is this client so bad? Attempt to use null value. Users.getAuthorID. Well, okay, there is some work that we need to do in this sense. In my defense, since we didn't have the ability to add new users before, this is the first time that I have more than one user. What I think is happening is that somewhere we are... Well, I think in this case, what's happening is that we are not telling the client about this user. So the client is trying to show something. It's trying to show information about a message that belongs to a user that we don't have locally. So right now we're just like hard failing, but obviously you need to have like a placeholder user where you know, question mark user. But also the server needs to communicate to the client about this new user. So yeah. Okay. So here's what I think I'm gonna do. We didn't do a lot of work today. I will admit that. But I have to prepare. So it was confirmed that I need to do an interview later today. So I need to drop off and start preparing for that. And this is it. So I'll be back. Thank you all for hanging out. Let me see if there's anybody live. Somebody doing Zig live, maybe? I should start rating the Mulroy, but if he keeps rating me, then I cannot rate him ever. There's Tiger Beetle, yeah, with Iron Beetle. There's also somebody else building a game engine in Zig Day 2. Poke Lego Dev. You know what? I think that in this case, Matt Clad kind of knows how to write Zig well enough. You guys probably are not going to be much help to him in chat, but you might be of help to Poke Lego. So let's go rate him. See you all.